What is up, everybody? It's your boy Diddy back again with another video, and this time we're going to be looking at DSP's daily wrap, and we're going to focus on Phil's new scam. That's right, folks. You might say to yourself, what scam is Phil running now? Well, we know he runs a million scams, but this scam is actually pretty new, and he seems to be ramping it up now that support for Street Fighter has kind of dwindled off. It's not, he's not getting the $150, $200, $300 tips. He started to he's starting to use this new scam, and let's get into the video and I'll talk about this specific scam.
Anyway, that was the first stream. Then on the late stream tonight, it was more Diablo 4, and it was a huge focus on story progress. I played 6 hours and was still in Act 1, hadn't really made much progress in the story because it just felt like more and more side stuff kept opening up, and I kept doing the things that were appropriate to Sorcerer, my build, but people were like, Juice, you've been playing this for a week, you're not even past Act 1 yet. I was like, all right, let's hunker down and let's do the story. I did 2 hours of story advancement tonight, and we're still not through Act 1, okay? Like, we did major story, major dungeon, fought a big boss, then headed to a whole new ice region with lots.
You know what could help if you don't stop every 2 minutes asking about or talking about tips, looking at your tips, asking for support. If you calculate how much time you do that in your stream, it's pretty significant. I mean, we're not talking about 2 or 3 minutes. We're talking about if you stream for 2 hours and you take away your bathroom breaks and where you're not doing anything, you might stream for maybe an hour and 15 minutes, right? Of that hour and 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes are dedicated to begging, looking at your tips, shouting out. So your gameplay is maybe an hour long of a 2-hour stream, Phil. That could be why you're not making any headway. And also, for some reason, you keep going to the side quests because I'm assuming you think the side quests are going to be easier to do, and that's why you do it. But it takes away from the main story. Just play the main story, and if you like the main story, then go bother and do the side quests after the fact. Anyway.
The snow and it's hard to see. Went through, did all this questing and everything, and I'm pushing and pushing and pushing. I even went late tonight. I went by probably like maybe 20 minutes or more later than usual. Still didn't finish Act 1. So it is what it is, but I did make good progress, and I will say this, all right? Even on a day today, when I knew that World Tour mode was not going to be the main appealing thing about Street Fighter, but people wanted to see it, support was decent on the Street Fighter stream. Tonight on the Diablo stream, we started off the first hour almost dead with no support. By the end of the stream, we had a bunch of gifted memberships. We had over $200 in super chats. We had a decent amount of tips. Everything was amazing. Thank you all. I mean, a great streaming day and a great support day out of nowhere on a day when otherwise I thought it would have been slow actually turned out really well. The one thing that is annoying, all of a sudden tonight.
Okay, so yeah, he walked away with $51 in tips. Some whale came out and gave him $100 super chat. If it wasn't for that, it'd be slow. And then someone gifted, I think, 5 memberships. So, but initially before that, Phil made nothing. Phil was getting crap support, and he was pissed and annoyed. You guys can watch my video that I just posted where I highlight the playthrough, and I highlight him constantly talking about support, and actually him saying that if you want this game to continue, you better support. Essentially, he threatened to wage quit the damn game, right? So that's the reason why. So he does this little thing where he guilt trips people, and that's what he did. And then he makes a veiled threat. The threat was, I'm gonna wage quit this game. So of course Brianna was nowhere to be found, so she couldn't drop her typical $50 whale tip. So Phil went out fishing yesterday, and he did, but it was after the fact. It was after the fact where he just spent almost an hour complaining about support and begging people for tips. This is classic Phil, right? And then when they rally, he's amazed and he's like, oh my God, you guys are so great. Maybe if you didn't guilt trip them to the point where they feel like, oh, I need to tip because if I don't tip, I'm gonna either get banned or he's not gonna play the game I like, or whatever excuse it is, Phil. And that's utterly disgusting. There should be no reason why you're pressuring anyone. Remember, Phil, contributions are not mandatory, as you once said. Well, you actually say contributions are mandatory, which is the real case for you. But they're not. So for you to continuously beg, I mean, it's getting to the point of scoring level of Phil. Now, the new scam that I was talking about is that what Phil's going to talk about here. He's acting like, oh, this is a new thing. No, it isn't. He's been creeping this in little by little whenever it suits his need. And the scam is the whole PayPal thing, where he's not getting tips. He isn't getting tips. Like last night, he got maybe like $10 in tips for like the first hour and 15 minutes, right? And then all of a sudden someone says, hey, I tipped, right? He checks it and he goes, oh yeah, I got a bunch of tips. Oh, PayPal didn't notify me. I got a whole bunch of tips. It was 2 tips. And it was 2 tips that someone had donated right after Phil begged, essentially. So it wasn't this whole, oh my god, PayPal is not giving me my emails, what's going on? And the reason why he's using this whole email PayPal scam thing is so that he can justify his begging. So when people say, why are you begging, he's gonna say, well, I'm not getting any tips and it's not my fault because PayPal isn't notifying me that I'm getting tips. So I worry because I may not meet my goals, and I just have to remind people that, hey, I need your tips and I need your support. That's why I'm continuously begging. And that's what he's going to do going forward. The next time he has a slow stream, he's going to act like, oh, I don't have any tips. What's going on? He's going to beg. And then as soon as he starts receiving tips, he's going to say, oh, I got tips. I'm sorry. It looks like PayPal didn't notify me. It looks like PayPal didn't send me the email notifications. And this is going to be a new scam that he's going to run to justify him begging. Because he's going to say, like I just said a minute ago, he's going to say, oh, well, the reason why I'm begging is because, I don't know if I'm getting any tips or not because PayPal isn't notifying me. And I need to make sure that I get support. That's going to be the latest thing that's going to happen. So keep taking a look out whenever he has kind of a slow day. He's going to beg, and then he's going to use the whole PayPal email, that PayPal hasn't notified him. He's going to use that as an excuse for him begging.
I got no emails whatsoever from PayPal when people tipped me. And that's usually how I do shout outs is
Okay, hear that word. He said he got no tip notifications. You heard him say, I got no tip notifications. Watch how quickly he changes that story.
Get an email that'll tell me, hey, you got this this contribution, and that's how I shout it out. And it was working earlier today for the Street Fighter stream. Tonight, I don't think I got a single email saying, I take that back. I think I got one email. I'm trying to think now. I think I did get one email at the beginning of the stream. Then all of a sudden, it stopped working.
That's a lie, because if you look at the playthrough in the initial when he did the unrecorded beg segment, he got 3 tips and he ended up getting about $11. He didn't get anything after that for about 45 minutes to an hour, and he continuously begged. And then after his super beg, about an hour into the playthrough, he started receiving tips. He got a couple tips when people say, hey, I tipped you, did you get my notification, right? And the guy said, I just tipped you. So he goes, no, I didn't get a notification. And then he goes and checks email, and then he goes, oh, I got a bunch of notifications. He had 2 tips. That's all he got. So I think he's going to be using this PayPal email not notifying me as a scam, as a way to allow him to do begging, so he could beg. And then he's going to blame PayPal because he's going to say, well, I don't know how much I'm getting in tips because PayPal isn't notifying me, so I need to make sure that my supporters know that they need to tip me. Essentially, that's going to be the racket going forward.
So I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'll double check. I don't think it's my email. I think it's PayPal. I think that PayPal is being stupid. This was happening last week a few times on and off, and then it would fix itself. I guarantee you what's going to end up happening is I'm going to get like 10, 12 emails overnight now saying, oh, here's your tips that I already got, right?
Right. This you just said a minute ago, Phil, this is something new, yet you just admitted that it happened last week a few times. And remember, it happened a few times. We can pinpoint when it happened was when you had a low support and you started begging on your streams, and then the dents felt compelled to tip you. So keep an eye out for Phil. He's going to be running this anytime support is slow. He's going to be running the whole PayPal isn't notifying me, and then begging, of course, and then of course blaming PayPal for why he had to beg.
Pretty stupid, but I apologize. I couldn't do the shout outs live. So people were like, hey, we tipped you, check, and I would check, and then I would shout out based on what I saw in my PayPal account. Thank you for that, for being patient. All right, hopefully things are back to normal tomorrow. Now, there's one other factor today. This morning, I guess, I woke up and didn't realize it, but when I started playing Street Fighter, I started getting this pain in the back of my neck. And it turned into this very strong, painful pain, shooting down my back, shoulder here, into my shoulder blade right here. And then basically going off to the side and down my arm, all the way into my pinky. It was painful and my pinky was numb. This has happened before. It's a pinched nerve in my neck. This happened to me a long time ago, like a decade ago, when I was still trying to play competitive fighting games, and my thumb went numb and I couldn't play the game in tournament anymore, and I forfeit. This is seeming to be happening again, but not as bad. I can already tell you my feeling's back in my finger, but man, I've had pain in my back and down my arm all day, and it sucked when I was playing Street Fighter because it was actually getting worse while I played. And I think what happened is when I stopped playing Street Fighter, not having my hands in that position where you have to kind of have them, elevated or whatever, it ended up getting better, and it is feeling like it's getting a little better. It still hurts though, but it feels like it's getting a little better. I hope it doesn't affect me tomorrow, because tomorrow's streams are as follows. The first stream will be Street Fighter 6, and I'm trying out Marisa for the first time.
There you go. That's his built-in excuse for tomorrow for why he sucks. He's gonna be terrible playing Street Fighter. And he's going to use the whole, oh, my arm is numb. Maybe if you didn't live a sedentary life, Phil, where you roll out of bed, you get coffee and your burrito, and then you go sit down for God knows how many hours, right? And then you get up and you go eat again, right? And then you sit down again and you play for a couple more hours, and then you go to bed. Maybe if you didn't have such a sedentary life, you wouldn't have these issues, Phil. I would suggest at your age, Phil, maybe you get onto an exercise program, or at the very least, do a stretching, maybe yoga. Do some yoga to stretch it out, Phil, because you're getting old, you're sedentary as hell, you eat terribly, and you're going to continuously have this pain, Phil. But I'm pretty sure there's no pain. I'm pretty sure it's funny how the pain always creeps up whenever he does terrible in a game.
A lot of people saying that she may,
or the support's slow,
be my play style, and they like this character. She has some super armor breaking moves. Kind of interesting, because I've been having a lot of issues with Drive Impact, and it seems like this character can beat Drive Impact. So maybe my cup of tea, I'm not sure. So I'll be trying her out tomorrow. And what I'll be doing, of course, will be the guides, the combo trials. I think for the first few matches, I may try casual matches first. So that way, with the casual matches, I won't get completely dominated in the rank by people who are just playing their mains. And then after playing casual matches for a while and getting down pat what I'm doing with her, then probably go into ranked. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. And I hope you'll join me for that. And I hope I'm not in pain and it hurts my performance. All right. Tomorrow night is the continuation of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Of course, folks, we all know that the only thing that cures back and arm and pinch nerve pain is a tier 2 tip goal. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out.